Alright, hello people. This is my book review on, I don't know if you can see it too well, Star Wars, Heir of the Empire, by Timothy Zahn. Yeah, it's a really interesting book, especially if you like Star Wars. There's a bunch of really fast-paced, quick, interesting events that sort of happen. It picks up shortly after Return of the Jedi. Basically the synopsis is that Luke Skywalker is trying to sort of establish some kind of new order with the Republic, the Alliance, the Rebel Alliance, and he's also trying to set up his Jedi Academy. He's trying to train new Jedi, and his sister Leia too, because she also is a Jedi, and she's married with Han Solo, and they're having Jedi twins. But there are still remnants of the Empire, and they're trying to track Luke and Leia down because they want to use their powers for evil. And there's a new character that's introduced in the series who's part of the little remnants of the Empire that's left over. His name is Grand Admiral Thrawn, and he's basically like this military strategist and genius. And he's like a really interesting character because he seems to always be 10 steps ahead of everyone else, and it seems that no matter what the rebels try and do, or at least Luke and his comrades, they can't outthink him or outsmart him, because he's just a strategist and a genius. Which is interesting because he's one of the first kind of enemies in a Star Wars thing that I've come across who doesn't really rely on brute force or powers of some sort. So that makes him a pretty interesting character. The other thing is there's this species, this animal that actually the Grand Admiral Thrawn finds on this planet. I think it's called Ysalamiri, and they basically negate or stop any force powers that can be used by Luke. So that's another problem that lingers throughout the book, which makes it for a really interesting play throughout the plot and the story, because Luke can't really use his powers, so he's ultimately useless in that aspect. So that makes for a really interesting narrative. And basically, yeah, I mean, the other thing that sort of unwinds and unravels is that the Grand Admiral, aside from finding these things that can stop the Force, he finds this long-lost Jedi who has been like a recluse for a while, and he's going to try and use his powers to either capture Luke and his sister Leia and use their powers for evil, or he's going to kill them. So we don't know, but again, the author Timothy Zahn, he paints like a really vivid picture. The plot moves along really fast. It feels very authentic, the language that he uses and the descriptions that are made throughout the book. It just feels like you're kind of in the movie, the way the narrative progresses and pushes through. I personally found it to be very entertaining. It's 404 pages long, I think, but it reads fast. You can get through it pretty quickly, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. And I would definitely recommend it if you are looking forward to seeing the new movie, because like I said, this picks up very shortly after Return of the Jedi. It's it's a good place to start if you want to pick up and get a jump on what the new movies are going to be about. So yeah, I would definitely check it out. I would give it 5 stars out of 5. I think it's worth reading and looking into. There's a lot of throwbacks to the older movies in there, and some really interesting plot twists too. So yeah, check it out if that's your thing.